This is Cristiano Ronaldo, arguably the greatest footballer of all time. However, what if he played his entire career in the Liga MX? So today, we're restarting Ronaldo's entire career, trying to become the greatest Liga MX player of all time. However, it isn't going to be easy as Ronaldo is starting at the very bottom with the worst team in the MX and Mazatlan FC. And in order for him to become the greatest MX player of all time, he needs to go ahead and score 313 MX goals, win a total of 10 Liga MX titles, win a total of 5 Champions Cups, and the most important, winning an MX in 5 different clubs. But here we have a 17-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo at a 67 overall and can play left wing and striker. But man, just take a look at those stats. You can tell he's going to be very special. But like I mentioned, he's playing for the worst MX side. Just take a look at this lineup. It doesn't look too bad, but it gets worse when you get to the bench and the reserves. There's no squad depth whatsoever. However, don't you worry, because throughout his career, we will have chances to bring players from the clubs that Ronaldo used to play for. But as you guys saw, Ronaldo will be playing up top, so we definitely have to go ahead and improve his shooting by going with the poacher development plan. And as we're going to the end of Ronaldo's first ever season in the MX, throughout his entire career, Ronaldo will be playing for some of the most iconic Mexican clubs. But in order to move on to the next club, Ronaldo will have to win an MX as well as another challenge. And the challenge he needs to complete at Mazatlan is to win the MX, but also score 20 goals in one tournament, whether it's the Clausura or the Apertura. And what a debut season! 11 goals, 4 assists. Only went up a +2 though. It's a bit disappointing. But you have to remember he is playing for the worst Mexican side. And of course, Ronaldo did not score 20 goals in the Apertura and also not in the Clausura and didn't win the Golden Boot. And this is very important because every time Ronaldo wins a Golden Boot, he gets to bring any player for any club he ever played in his career. And of course, in the Apertura, Mazatlan finished in dead last. And in the Clausura, they only managed to finish 10th. Let's not even talk about the other two competitions. But you know what? With 9 MX goals so far, it's not too bad. Make sure to pay attention to the MX goals underneath the overall. And kicking off season 2, Ronaldo has already gotten up a +2. But man, this guy is really gonna have to carry and win the Golden Boot if he wants to go ahead and add old teammates to win the MX title with Mazatlan. But this time around, his shooting is looking a lot better. But we're gonna go ahead and double down and go for poacher once again. And season 2 was a slight increase with 12 goals and 1 assist. Now at a 74 overall, surely soon he'll be winning a Golden Boot. And once again, Ronaldo doesn't win the Golden Boot in the Apertura or the Clausura for that matter. And sadly, in the Apertura, they were knocked out in the play-in too, but that is an improvement. And it's the same result in the Clausura. However, something I forgot to mention, every time Ronaldo joins a new club, we will be opening one of these boxes. And in each box, it will give us a random superstar to send to a random MX team. And for the rest of Ronaldo's career, they will be a rival. And going into season 3, Ronaldo has 20 Liga MX goals. And now in season 3, Ronaldo is about to become the highest rated in the entire team. But surely now with 73 shooting, he has to win a Golden Boot. And in terms of development plans, we're going for the advanced forward role. And it's Ronaldo's best season, 22 goals, 1 assist. Now at a 78 overall, surely he won a Golden Boot. But no, Ronaldo doesn't win the Apertura Golden Boot. But yes, he wins the Clausura, which means next season, we can bring a player from a club Ronaldo used to play for. But once again, Ronaldo gets knocked out in the play-in, and in the Clausura, they didn't even qualify. But everything looks good so far with 41 goals in the MX. And kicking off season number 4, we have brought in Reinier Jesus, who is currently playing for Real Madrid. And the reason I brought in Reinier and not Kylian Mbappe or Bellingham is because the player we bring in has to be the same or lower rated than the highest rated player that isn't Ronaldo. But as Reinier joins the side, he's definitely gonna assist Ronaldo to win another Golden Boot and hopefully the MX. And now Ronaldo's shooting stats are looking incredible, but we're not done just yet as we're going for the poacher once again. And Ronaldo has improved 28 goals, 1 assist now at an 81 overall. I just hope he went far in the MX. But yes, Ronaldo wins his second Golden Boot, but misses out in the Clausura by 5 goals. And this time they reached the quarters of the Apertura and also got to the quarters in the Clausura. They're improving. And they even got to the round of 16 of the League's Cup. But with 67 MX goes to his name. We get to bring in another player. And now in season number 5, as Benedetti is 79 overall. The question is, what position should we sign a player for? The right mid position is looking extremely weak. However, the rest of the attack is looking just fine. In my opinion, I think we need a brand new goalkeeper to help us win the MX. And I've looked through Ronaldo's old clubs and we only have 4 options. However, Mattia Perin and Kovacevic are not going to be options because they're too old. And ultimately, I went for Diego Calai, the young Brazilian keeper. And as Diego joins the side, I think this team is capable of winning the MX. However, don't forget Ronaldo still needs to score 20 goals in a single campaign. And as his shooting is already world class, I think we're going for the target forward. And Ronaldo has done it. He's arrived at the Clausura final. And it's time for the first leg against Monterrey. Let's see how it's gonna go ahead and go. And it's a 2-2 draw. As Ronaldo scores 2 goals, it's all up to the second leg. And it's time for the second leg. If he wins this game, there's a chance that he could move on to the next club. But let's see how this game goes. And it's a 2-1 victory. As Reynet scores a goal for his first MX. And what a season for Ronaldo. 37 goals, 2 assists. Now at an 85 overall. The question is, did he score 20 goals either competition? And Ronaldo wins a golden boot, but no 20 goals. But he does it in the Clausura, which means he can now leave Mazatlan to the next club. But turns out Mazatlan also won the Apertura. But sadly, there was no Leagues Cup for Ronaldo. And as Ronaldo has 104 MX goals, he now has 2 MX titles, as well as winning it with 1 club already. And in season number 6, Ronaldo's next club is Club Leon. He's going to be wearing that famous green jersey. As in order to leave Leon, of course, he needs to win the MX, but he also has to win a Leagues Cup. And as Ronaldo joins Leon, this team is way better than the star at Mazatlan. 37-year-old James is still playing football. But of course, winning the MX and the Leagues Cup is still going to be difficult, as this season we're going to go ahead and give him the false 9 development plan to really increase his passing. But of course, it's time to find out who's going to be Ronaldo's first rival, and it's Jude Bellingham to Cruz Azul. So now Jude Bellingham becomes Ronaldo's first rival, as winning the MX isn't going to be so easy anymore. And if you have enjoyed this video so far, make sure to subscribe. And what a season for Ronaldo. 24 goals, 8 assists, now at an 87. However, those numbers don't seem high enough for a golden boot. And boys, his own teammate Mendoza beat him to the golden boot. However, in the Apertura, he does win it, which means we get to bring in a player. But there was no Apertura win for Ronaldo, and neither in the Clausura. And in the Leagues Cup, it was won by Bellingham and Cruz Azul. However, his 127 MX goals are looking brilliant. And in season 7, the highest rated is Frias and Estrada at an 80 overall. The question is, what position should we improve? And I think once again, we need an attacking midfielder. And our options are Mario Martin, Winston McKennie, or Mason Mount. So I have decided to bring in Mason Mount because he was the best passer of the 3. And as Mason Mount joins the side, I hope we can win the MX and the Leagues Cup this time. And as Ronaldo approaches a 90 overall, his stats are looking absolutely ridiculous. And yes, Ronaldo has gotten Leon to the Leagues Cup final, but Mason Mount is actually the top goal scorer in the competition. But the question is, can Ronaldo and Mason Mount win the Leagues Cup? Come on, it's gonna be a 3-1 victory against Toluca, as Mount scores 2 goals to win us the trophy. And Leon has also reached the Clausura final. And if he can win his 3rd MX, he will be moving on to the next iconic Mexican club. The first leg is a 2-1 loss. Can we see a remontada here on this second leg, please? Let's win the MX. And yes, they have done it. As Ronaldo got suspended, but regardless, he can now leave Leon. But this season, Ronaldo gets 26 goals and 4 assists, now at an 89 overall. But sadly, Ronaldo didn't win the Apertura and did not participate in the Champions Cup as of yet. And now with 151 MX goals and 3 MX titles and his second club completed. And now in season 8, before we find out what Ronaldo's next club is, it's time to find out who the next rival is going to be, as Bellingham hasn't done too much, and it's Desiree Doué to Toluca. And as Desiree Doué joins Toluca at a 90 overall, Cristiano Ronaldo's next club is Rayados Monterrey, as he joins the legendary Dark Blues. And as Ronaldo joins Rayados, this might be the best team he's played with, as in order to leave Rayados, of of course, he has to win the MX, but also his first Champions Cup. And in terms of development plan, his passing definitely needs some work, so we're going for the false 9. And in his first season, he has gotten Rayados to a final. However, can he beat the Clausura over Jude Bellingham, who is still on the other team, and it's going to be a 1-1 draw? Can he go ahead and win the second leg, or is Bellingham gonna take an MX away from him, and it's a 2-1 victory, as Ronaldo scores a brace to already win the MX, as Rayados also win the Apertura. Sadly, couldn't win the Leagues Cup, as they did not participate in the Champions Cup. But Ronaldo did get 41 goals and 11 assists out of 91 overall, as Ronaldo wins both Golden Boots, 2 transfers incoming. And as Ronaldo has 190 MX goals and has 5 MX totals and wins the MX in his third club, he still needs that Champions Cup. And kicking off season number 9, we get to sign 2 players, and I have center backs and left mids posted. And the 2 players I have gone for is Ryan Flamingo from Sporting and Kate Kawa, who somehow ended up at Real Madrid. And I'm not gonna lie, this team looks like it can win the Champions Cup, as we're giving Ronaldo the advanced forward role. And Ronaldo has done it, reaching the Champions Cup final against Tigres. But the question is, can Ronaldo go ahead and beat Tigres here to win his first Champions Cup? And it's a 3-0 victory, as he scores a double. And it's Ronaldo's best ever season, 50 goals, 11 assists. Now at a 93 overall, he's just unstoppable. But of course, he will be moving on to his next club. However, he fails to win the Apertura, and he also fails to win the Clausura. And as Ronaldo has 228 MX goals, he still has 5 MX, but has won his first Champions Cup. And now in season 10, who is gonna be the new rival for Ronaldo? And it's Lamine Yamal to Tigres. And as a 95 rated Lamine Yamal joins Tigres, Cristiano Ronaldo's next club is Chivas Guadalajara. As in order for Ronaldo to go to his final club, he needs to win the MX as well as 2 more Champions Cups. Can he do it wearing the famous red and white kits? So Ronaldo has now joined Chivas. I think this team is capable of winning the Champions Cup. And now at a 93 overall, it would be interesting if we could get him to a 99. And Ronaldo has arrived to his first MX final with Chivas. However, he is facing his old club Monterrey. Let's see if we can go ahead and get the victory. And it's a 2-1 win. I meant to say it's a 2-1 loss. I thought he was still at Monterrey. And it's now time for the second leg. They need to win because they weren't in the Champions Cup this year. And in order to qualify, they need to win an MX. And it's a 3-1 win. Ronaldo and Camperos with the goal as he wins the MX with Chivas. And Ronaldo scores 33 goals, 8 assists out of 94 overall. And Ronaldo doesn't win the Golden Boot in the Apertura, but of course he secures the Clausura 1. As Pachuca win the Apertura and Chivas losing the Leagues Cup to Rayados. But now with 260 goals in the MX and 6 MX titles, he has 1 more club to win the league title, but of course he can't go to that last club until he wins 2 Champions Cups. And in season 11, I brought in Matty Smets, a Belgian center back who was playing at Man United. And now Smets joins the side, of course. Rangel is the one that was 83. And this season, we're going for the target forward. Let's win that Champions Cup. And Ronaldo has arrived to a Champions Cup final. The question is, can he go ahead and beat Inter Miami to win his second, I believe, Champions Cup final of his career? And it's a 3-1 win as Ronaldo scores a goal. And it's another great season. 40 goals, 20 assists this time out. Now at a 95 overall. As Ronaldo wins 2 more Golden Boots. But Ronaldo fails to win the Apertura, but he does win another MX in the Clausura. And now with 291 MX goes to his name, he has 7 MX titles and 2 Champions Cups. 1 left to go before he goes to the final club. And now in season number 12, we could make 2 signings. However, I think this team is good enough to win the Champions Cup again. So I will be skipping on the signings this season and go for the target forward, as he is a 95 overall. And it's back-to-back Champions Cup final for Chivas. But the question is, can Ronaldo move on to his final club by beating Rayados here tonight? And it's a 2-1 victory. And it's another brilliant season with 33 goals. He did score 24 in the MX, and he has become the top MX goal scorer of all time. But with 26 assists as well, is now at a 97 overall. But Ronaldo wins another Apertura, but he fails to win the Clausura. And with the MX record broken, he now has 8 league titles and 3 Champions Champions Cups. It's up to see what his last club is. But let's go ahead and find out who are going to be the last two rivals. Might as well open both. It's going to be Berlin Wirtz to Atlas, and it's also going to be Jamal Musiala to Pachuca. So as Jamal Musiala joins Pachuca and Florian Wirtz joins Atlas, Ronaldo's final club, of course, is Club America, as his final goal is to win the MX, but also win a treble with America. And as Ronaldo joins Club America, I think it's possible to win the treble. And for potentially one last time, now at a 97 overall, we're going for the false 9 roll. And what a season for Ronaldo. 30 goals, 10 assists, now at a 99 overall. He's the best player of all time, surely. But he does win the Apertura, and he also wins the Clausura, which means he wins 10 MX titles and wins the MX with 5 different clubs. Sadly, he wasn't in the Champions Cup, so if he wins the Leagues Cup, he will fail his Champions Cup objective. And he does win the Leagues Cup, which means he has finished his career failing the Champions Cup. And Ronaldo is now the greatest MX player of all time. And if you guys enjoyed this video, click on the screen and watch me play the entire career of Raul Jimenez.